Welcome back to a Saturday edition of the Prop Shop Live. I am your host, Bobby Stanley, also known as PropHolliday on Twitter, rocking with the GoldBoys. Guys, we did a Saturday edition because we have 2 days worth of wild cards, three if you count Monday, but I'll be back on Monday night. Quick recap of last Thursday's show 2-0 on the straights. We cashed PJ Washington over 17.5 points, Amen Thompson under 16.5 points, both relatively no sweat on that. Wild card weekend. We have 5 games between today and tomorrow. I have 4 picks, 2 for today, 2 for tomorrow, touchdown liquor cabinet for today. And I share with you my FanDuel no sweat bet for today. Everybody's got a tons of bets out. I'm not going to overload you, but I do want to give you some of the 1 unit stuff to at least keep the bankroll going. All right, kick off today. We got the Chargers -3 on the road in Houston. Total sits at 41.5. I've been bullish on the Chargers. I have a Super Bowl future out on them. I put $50 to win. I want to say 1,800, something like that. I do think they win today. Total sitting at 48.5 means Houston keeps it a little bit close. I'm not going to beat a dead horse here. I think Harbaugh is a better coach. I think Herbert's a better quarterback. I think defensively they are better. Houston's offensive line, the interior of that offensive line, has not done a good job of keeping CJ Stroud upright. So I'm rolling with the Chargers -3. As far as the total, I don't have a feeling either way. Stay away from the total. Better game of today is Pitts up to 9.5. I think it was 8.5 either yesterday or 2 days ago. It's been bet up to 9.5. Total sitting at 43.5. The game is in Baltimore. It's a divisional game. It's an AFC North game. I was talking to Tone, producer, this morning. He's a AFC North guy. We are both aligned. I have to take Pitt plus 9.5 here. Just the fact that this is probably going to be a dogfight. Yes, I think Baltimore wins. Do I think Pittsburgh can keep it close? I do. So I'm taking the 9.5 points in Pittsburgh. We'll talk about my player props there. As far as the total, 43.5. Again, don't feel strongly either way. If this was a a 24-17 game, I wouldn't be shocked. If this was a 2014 game, I wouldn't be shocked. Take the 9.5 with Pittsburgh, and we roll to the better slate of games, which is Sunday. Open up with Broncos and Bills. It's going to be freezing. I do think there's flurries from what I checked 2 days ago. Bills are giving 8.5, but the total sits at 47.5. This is the stinker of the weekend. I think Buffalo blows them out. Bo Nix on the road, rookie first playoff game. I don't think it ends well, but kudos to the Broncos for making it to the playoffs this year with a rookie quarterback and those offensive weapons. The defense, yes, it's stacked, but this seems to be Josh Allen's MVP season. I think they roll here. This one reeks of like 35-17. Lay the 8.5, go with the over. I lean the Bills there. And then this is the game of the weekend for me. It's Packers Philly. Philly given 4.5. Total sits at 45.5. One of my best friends, Green Bay Packers fan his whole life. He's not sold on Jordan Love. He actually is like just the way he's been playing. I think his knock on him was he sits in shotgun, plus he's doing 3 to 5 step drops on that, and the arm strength just isn't there. That's his night. He's like, if I was he played football in high school and college. He's like, if I could talk to the coach, I'd really fix this. Well, we all know that guy. I lean Philly in the revenge game, giving 45.5 from what happened last postseason. Jalen Hurts is out of concussion protocol. I do have a play. I'm sorry, I don't have a playthrough in that game. I didn't share with the producer, but I'll drop it when I go through the picks. And then my big upset, I think my upset of the weekend here, not talking about Monday's game with the Rams and the Vikings. I'm taking the Commanders +3. I'm taking the Commanders money line. That's the Sunday night football game. Totals at 50.5. That's going to be a fun one, but I think the Commanders can win outright. I would take the 3. I would take the money line, and we'll talk about my 1 unit prop there. Before, let's not wait any further. I got 4 picks to give you throughout the entire show. First game, first pick, and it's an anytime touchdown score. Rarely do I do this. It's -115, which is what I normally don't do in terms of touchdown bets. But this is the playoffs. You feed the guys that got you there. I'm going Joe Mixon, anytime touchdown score. It's -115 over on FanDuel. I'm going 1 unit here. Total sits at 45.5. Even though I like the Chargers to win, I don't see the game getting away from Houston with this type of total. 24 touches per game on 60% of the snaps. When he's in, Joe Mixon's getting the football. No Tank Dell. This offense essentially revolves around Nico Collins and Joe Mixon today. 12 touchdowns on the year. Bit of a drought to end the season, but the last 2 games, the workload wasn't there for him. At nearly even money, I'm pulling the trigger on Mixon scoring probably one of their 3 touchdowns today. So give me Mixon anytime touchdown score. It's minus 115. I saw this as high as minus 140 on certain books. That's where I think it should be at minus 115. I like the price here. 1 unit Mixon anytime touchdown score in the game that I do think the Chargers win. And we're right out of the gate. Going to the Steelers and the Ravens game. Isaiah Likely over 28 and a half receiving yards. This was as low as 25 and a half, 27 and a half. Like most player props, it was getting bet up prior to kickoff. I still like it at 28 and a half at minus 115 for 1 unit. Steelers allowed the most targets in the NFL to opposing tight ends. Ravens going to be shuffling around their weaponry with Zay Flowers being out. Andrews and Bateman will be the top 2 targets, but I think Likely will have a role in this offense today. Played 66% of the snaps in 4 straight games to close the regular season. In the 2 games against Pittsburgh, he has 3 targets, 3 receptions, 29 yards. That was in week 15. 5 targets, 4 receptions, 75 yards in week 11. I think they're going to go a lot of 2 tight end sets today with Andrews and Likely. He is freakish athleticism, as we saw in that week 1 game against Kansas City, which feels like it was yesterday. Give me 28 and a half on Likely. Big part of this is Flowers being out of the game. So over 28 and a half on Isaiah Likely. You can play some alt lines with him, but I feel safe on the 1 unit there. Really quickly, let me open up the chat. Before we go into Sunday's games, thinking about signing up for Bet365, you have a choice. Either a safety net bet on your first bet up to $1,000 or bet $5 and get 150 in bonus bets instantly. Choose your bonus by following the link in the episode description. Must be 21 plus, but 18 plus in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, so we have burned through the Saturday slate already. As I sip my old school Rams coffee, we'll talk about them on Monday. And I go into Broncos and Bills. I'm hoping you can still get this line. James Cook over 55 and a half rushing yards. I put this in, gave it out to my Discord, I think on Thursday, I want to say. It's probably at 58 and a half, 59 and a half. I would still play it there. Or you may just start considering alt lines and go less of a unit. So maybe half unit, you go 70 plus, something like that. Bills, 8.5-point favorites at home over the Broncos. Weather indicates freezing with some snow flurries. Both teams are accustomed to this, but combining the spread with the weather tells me we get a heavy dose of Cook in the run game. He hits this in ease in both playoff games last postseason. He had 18 rush attempts in each game last postseason, averages 58.3 rushing yards per game at home, 60.2 yards per game in all outdoor games this season. Denver's defense, I did a little digging here. Yes, they're stout against the run if you just look at kind of their 1,000 feet up numbers. Then I started digging into how they performed against running backs when you have when you're against call it a top tier quarterback, and the numbers are a little bit different. Thank you to Tone. 58 and a half on Bet365. I would still play that number at 58 and a half on Cook. Let's look at how they performed against defenses with what we consider a top tier quarterback. Against Baltimore, 28 rushing attempts, 121 yards. This is only running backs. This is not quarterbacks or wide receivers. This is only running back numbers. Against Baltimore, 28 attempts, 121 yards. Against Tampa, and what Baker's done this year, I'm putting him in that top. He's arguably a top 5 MVP candidate. Against Tampa, 16 attempts, 91 rushing yards. Chargers, 31 rush attempts, 112 yards. Chargers again, 19 attempts, 92 yards. Cincinnati, 24 attempts, 90 yards. Their only impressive performance against a top-tier QB came against Kansas City, 16 attempts for 39 yards. Cook's rushing attempts are sitting around 13 and a half, depending on your book. When he goes over 13 and a half, so when he has 14 or more, he's hit this line in 6 of 7 games. So giving out Cook 55 and a half rushing yards, I think he's going to be a big part of that offense tomorrow against the Broncos. I didn't share with Tone my Bucks and Eagles play, but I have this. I got to give it out in the Discord for guys there. I put this in one. I want to say what's Saturday. I put this in Thursday night and fell asleep, but it's Saquon Barkley over 11 and a half receiving yards. I will give the write up, but I like Saquon getting back into that receiving attack. He got away from it the second half of the season. I think it's going to be very valuable to this Eagles offense in the postseason. Give me Saquon over 11.5 receiving yards. You can play it at 12.5. Sorry for not having the ticket, but it exists. Jayden Daniels, game of the weekend, upset of the weekend, over 8.5 rushing attempts. Gave this out Wednesday in the Prop Shop Discord. Um, Daniels' median rush attempts. I like median. I don't like average. Averages can be skewed by one outlandish performance. I go median. I think it's a little bit more reliable of a stat. His median rush attempts is exactly 8.5. It was between 9 and 7 in those 17 games. So no edge on the rush attempt number there. But I did notice the 16 rush attempts, which was a season high against Tampa Bay in week 1, and that's tied to their blitz rate. Tampa, third highest blitz rate in the league. When blitzed this season, Jayden Daniels has a league high 27 scramble attempts, 9 more than second place, which was Caleb Williams. I don't know if that's a rookie thing, but when he gets blitzed, he has a league high 27 scramble attempts. A lot has changed since that week 1 matchup, but blitzing a rookie quarterback in his first playoff game is something Todd Bowles is going to do. That I feel pretty confident in. In the event Washington pulls out the upset, say I'm right. Say they do pull out the upset. Those uh Daniels hit this mark in 6 of 12 regular season wins, and those kneel downs in garbage time to kill the clock, those count as rush attempts here in the NFL, not so much in college. But over 8.5 rush attempts for Jayden Daniels is my 1 unit play in that Commanders Bucks game, and I do think it's an upset. Take the 3 points if you don't feel good about that. 3 points is huge. That's a field goal in the playoffs, but I like him on the upset. Before we go into my touchdown liquor cabinet for today, let's hear a couple words from my boy Brad.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the GoldBoys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the GoldBoys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
All right, touchdown liquor cabinet. What you guys are all here for? We're bringing this back for the NFL edition. It's no shocker. It's a 1 unit play for me. Outright is Joe Mixon. So my top shelf is Joe Mixon. If you're looking for an alternative that I would put 1 unit on today, probably go Mark Andrews. I think it's plus 140 over on FanDuel. I'm gonna throw that in my safe same game odds boost over on Bet365. But Mixon and Andrews are my 2 favorite to get in the end zone. Maybe some Nico Collins. Um, but I feel better about Andrews and Mixon. So that's the top shelf. I don't need to beat you to death there. Mid shelf is where we have some fun. Isaiah Likely plus 275 on DraftKings. I got this in last night. He's also my, what do we call it? King of the end zone. I read what the king of the end zone for DraftKings, you're going to share 2 million in bets. It's whoever's going to have the longest touchdown. Now, your first thought would probably be Nico Collins. Maybe a John Mechie would be good for a longest touchdown. I went with Likely. I can see him grabbing one and going 30, 40 yards over the across the middle of the field and really beating that Steelers secondary there. I do like him to score. I also, when I play these weird bets, the king of the court, the king of the end zone, I don't want a $15 fucking bonus bet. I want to see if I can hit something for, $100 or $200. So I went Likely for my king of the end zone. I know you can same game parlay 3 guys, up to 3 guys, I think, for that touchdown prop. That makes me a little bit less excited about it because if you do have, say you go Mechie, Mixon, and Likely, is your parlay going to hit? Probably not. But if you get one of the 3 and then you hit the bonus bet, every asshole is going to have that. Your bonus bet's going to be not great. So I just went with Likely for it. Give me Likely in the mid shelf for half unit at 275. And then George Pickens plus 240 on FanDuel for a touchdown score for me. He needs to step up big if the Steelers want to make this competitive. I do think he has a chance to do that. He's a big talking wide receiver. Most of them are. I want to see something from him, and he's going to get some opportunities today. Plus 240 on Pickens, half unit. And then Vaca's fun. I didn't go 2 touchdowns here because the totals are low. The totals are 43.5 and 41.5. You could go Derrick Henry. I think he's like plus 400, plus 340 for 2 touchdowns. Mixon's like plus 550, but I didn't feel as great there. I went Deontay Johnson, recent pickup of the Houston Texans. I think it's up to 11-1. I got it 10-1. I threw $5 on it. It's just a fun bet. And I'm going to read you some coach speak from D'Amico Ryans. We'll start to continue to feed him more and see how he can help us. The skill set and talent is there. It's just a matter of integrating him into our offense and making sure we put him in positions where he can accumulate his talent because he's a talented player. He made tons of plays in this league. It's exciting to see what he's able to do on the practice field. So I'm excited to see that come to life on game day. It's 10-1. If they get in a red zone situation, he has the hands, he's a good route runner. It's a matter of can he fit in this offense. I don't know what his snap count looked like. It may be relegated to only red zone attempts, but that's why I'm playing him on the touchdown. 11-1 on FanDuel. Throw $5 on it. Let's see if Deontay Johnson can get in the end zone and hit us with some well vodka for some well vodka prices. That's today's touchdown liquor cabinet. And I want to give you my no sweat on FanDuel. But I don't want to say I'm limited. That gives the wrong impression. But my FanDuel no sweats and everything are down to like $10. I was at 25 and 50 a month ago. Now I'm down to 10. I think it's because I've been playing more on Fanatics and Bet365. They're like, fuck this guy. I don't think it's oh my God, he's robbing us. But it kind of sucks. But I have a $10 no sweat, 33-1. Will Disley, 40 plus receiving yards. Nico Collins, 7 plus receptions. Disley's back. I don't trust Hayden Hurst, the rookie. What's his name? Stone Smart. It's a rookie in a playoff game. Reluctant to believe Harbaugh buys in on that. Give me Disley, 40 receiving yards on the alt line. Nico Collins, 7 receptions. I just think they're going to be hammering Nico Collins every opportunity they get because there's no Tank Dell and they need to win this game. Then going into the late slot, Derrick Henry, first half touchdown score, and then George Pickens, 80 plus receiving yards. So that is 33-1. I'm throwing my $10 no sweat on there. Pays $330. If we hit that, I'll tweet out something good for tomorrow to use that 330 on. Maybe I won't use all of it. Maybe I will. I don't know. I really love tomorrow's games a lot more than today's. The totals are low in today's games. We got one of them a divisional game. Seems like Chargers and Houston's going to be a snooze fest. I hope it's not, but that is my no sweat over on FanDuel. Put that one in. Load up on the touchdown liquor cabinet. Isaiah Likely and Pickens in that mid shelf. Half a unit on each at over 2.5-1. Mixing on the 1 unit. Deontay Johnson, 11-1 as of this morning. I got it at 10-1 2 days ago. It just keeps going up. He might not play a snap. If he doesn't play a snap, it voids. You get your $5 back. If he plays, I'm pretty sure it's going to be in red zone situation. So win-win there. I'm not going to go through the entire slate, but for just today, Likely over 28.5 receiving yards. Joe Mixon, anytime touchdown score. I rarely do this, but it's for good reason. Chargers, give the 3. Pitt, take the 9.5. I will see you Monday night to talk about how my Rams are playing in Arizona for the home playoff game they won. Yes, we're sad about everything going on in Los Angeles. I don't need to fucking say that, but it sucks. It sucks that you win a home playoff game, but you don't. You get a 14-win team on the road as a home playoff game. But I will see you Monday to talk about my Rams. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.